What is up, guys? Welcome to Loveshack Entertainment, and today we're going to be bringing you a new deck profile video. So this is one I'm pretty pumped about. It's something that obviously needs a lot of work and is far from the final draft, but I'm bringing you today a Buster Blader deck profile, and I love the deck. It's so fun. This is my own twist on it, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the video, and it's one of those times where I'm like, it's not a competitive deck per se, but I think it's a blast, and if you're playing at a local level, you can actually do some things with it. So, again, this is the first draft. It's not perfect, and I do have some revisions already in mind, so we may see an updated version of this in the future. But without further ado, let's get started, and I'll try to make this not too long, but I know some people do like the explanations. So, to Buster Blader. Those of you unfamiliar with the card, I will there for you. This card gains 500 attack for each dragon-type monster your opponent controls or in their graveyard. So, in the essence of this deck, Buster Blader is more than likely just a normal monster. You have a lot of cards that tutor it, a lot of cards that bring it out, and it's kind of like the key element of the deck, but you almost never use its effect unless you're kind of playing against a deck that plays dragons, you know, maybe rogue matchups. I'm really not sure. Even trying to like use that as an example, like Stellar Knights, all Yang Zing, Shadows, whatever. There's not a lot of dragon types right now, but Buster Blader is still necessary for reasons we'll get to in a minute. And then of course the one Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordsman. This guy again, his effect is relatively lackluster, but he becomes Buster Blader while he's on the field or in the graveyard. And then if a monster your opponent controls is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can equip it to him. Once per turn, you can send an equipped monster to him to the graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls at the same time. So. The fact that it doesn't treat itself as Buster Blader in the hand is a huge deterrent to the card. If it did, it would be so much better because you'd be able to use the Whelp, which I'll show you in just a minute, to bring it out. But it's still good because if you get it in grave, it's pretty effective, and you just bring it out and use it as a name. It's Buster Blader, and you can use it for, your fusion summons and stuff. So I do play it at 1 because it's necessary. I kind of wish I didn't have to, but yeah, so that's it for the Buster Bladers. And then 3, Buster Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman. This guy is pretty much the backbone of the deck. It's a dragon, level 1 tuner, so when it's normal summon, you can add a Destruction Sword card from your deck to your hand. So yeah, that does include this guy because he's Destruction Sword Master, but Destruction Sword is still in the name. But mostly the spell and traps and other monsters in the deck are what you get with it. And then it has 2 additional effects, but you can only use 1 of them each turn. So it's either you can tribute it, special summon a Buster Blader from your hand or graveyard, or if it's in your graveyard and you control Buster Blader, you can discard a card to special summon it from your graveyard. So it's a tuner, it's very versatile, and it kind of lets you get access to the synchro quick, which is part of what makes it such a powerful card. So 3 Buster Blader, Destruction Swordsman, Buster Whelp rather. It's a tuner, level 1, light, really good, just definitely necessary for the deck. And then the other 3 of is Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. So this is another level 1 tuner. This one's dark. You can target a Buster Blader you control, equip it to him. While it's equipped to a monster, your opponent cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. So it's actually really cool against Pepe and other pendulum-based decks if you can get a good field setup, which is again key because it's not easy to do in this with this deck because obviously you don't have the speed that some of the other decks do. While it's equipped with a monster, you can special summon it. So if you do equip it to Buster Blader, you can then special it, and you can synchro for a level 8, which gets you either Buster Dragon or Scrap Dragon, Stardust, whatever it is you want to get. So level 1 dark tuner, all good assets that make it a necessary 3 of in the deck, in my opinion. And then we have for 1-ups Wizard Buster Destruction Sword. So this one you equip it to a Buster Blader, and then while it is in your while it is equipped to a monster, monsters in your opponent's graveyard cannot activate their effects. So it's not super effective right now against a lot of decks, but its name, being another Destruction Sword, makes it good. Also, the fact that you can send it while it's equipped to target a different Destruction Sword monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So it's a one-of because it's kind of doesn't really have a lot of flow with the rest of the deck, but it's still a decent card that lets you recur some of your stuff like Destruction Sword, Whelp, and other things. You get some extra searches. So overall, really cool. I love the art, love the card, but it's not that great. And then 1 Robot Buster Destruction Sword. This one's a level 4, which makes it a little bit better simply because you can summon or monk it. But basically, again, you can equip it to a Buster Blader. Spell and traps that are already face up on the field cannot activate their effects that your opponent controls. So, Cosmotown, I mean, I can think of all sorts of different things. Lose 1 turn, just to name a couple off the top of my head. But there's obviously plenty of cards, including pendulums for that matter. So Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer, things like that. And then you can send it while it's equipped. And if you do, the monster it's equipped with gains 1,000 attack till the end of the turn. So again, another one-of, but it is a Destruction Sword. It is searchable by stuff in the deck, so that's what makes it useful. So 2 Summoner Monk. Why Summoner Monk? People are going to ask that because I don't play a lot of level 4s. So basically, Monk is used 1 to get out Destruction Sword if you want to, but more importantly than that, to get out Elemental Hero Prisma. So I go 2 and 2. Prisma works obviously, for those of you unfamiliar with it, you send a monster from your deck to the graveyard that is listed on a fusion monster. Prisma's name becomes that name for the rest of the turn. So Prisma makes itself a Buster Blader, which sets you up for Trish plays. So for example, obviously Monk into Prisma while you have Buster Whelp in the grave, pitch a card because he's treated as Buster Blader, you synchro for 9. There's a lot of other combos you can do as well, but that's just one off the top of my head. You can make a rank 5, a level 5 rather. You can fusion summon using your Destruction Sword. So a lot of cool combos with it, and then of course the fact that it does give you access to a rank 4 engine. So I've seen some people elect not to play this and will instead play like Effect Veilers, Ghost Ogres, whatever. I understand the choice behind it. I just personally think this is the more effective way. But again, I understand that everybody has their own individual choices. And then one Glow Up Bulb. So obviously, just Glow Up Bulb is being played in everything right now. Like, it's a really good card. But it is a 1-for-1 target. It is something that you can discard to add your fusion back to hand. And you can also Foolish Burial it if you wanted to. So again, it allows you to make Trish. It enables a lot of other plays. And it's really good for that reason. And then the last one is the one BLS. I know it's kind of like a common thing to do in the Yu-Gi-Oh community to take a card like BLS and splash it in a deck that's just got lights and darks, but you really do have like at least 8 of each, or at least 7 of each, so it's not that difficult to bring out, and, you know, it's BLS. It's a good beater, it puts damage on board and helps you to push for game, so there's really no reason not to play it, and I've never really had a scenario where it's dead drawn just because of how easy it is to fill up the graveyard in this deck. So yeah, let's take a look at the spells. Triple Upstart Goblin. Now, I like it, but I kind of think I want to play other things. I don't really like giving my opponent the life points in this because I think that it makes it harder to put damage on board. You can do some pretty cool combos with, you know, OTKing and such with Destruction Sword Fusion, but I may end up dropping Upstart. If I do, what I'll likely replace it with will be like Mathematician, and maybe some Max C's, because I think the Max C is going to offer me a little bit more draw power, especially against certain matchups. So yeah, if I do drop it, I put Max C, but obviously, you know, a lot of people are going to say, oh, play Upstart, you know, whatever it is you want to do. True Duality. You do special a lot, but of course the whole idea is that, you know, you want to be able to set up your plays too. And if you already have a Buster Blader out on the field, or if you're just doing some searching, it doesn't hurt to have that. So you just play your dualities wisely, and it doesn't really impact you all that negatively. True Cards of Consonance. So I love this card in here. You run 6 Dragon-type tuners with 1,000 or less attack, so you can get plenty of draw power, and you kind of want them in grave anyway, so it's like a win-win. There's no reason not to play it, and it sets up your graveyard for all sorts of different plays. So True Cards of Consonance. True MST. You do have Twin Twister now, which is a great card, and especially as I want graveyard set up, but I still like MST in the sense that I can just, you know, drop it pretty quick to get over something like Vanities. 2 Destruction Swordsman Fusion. So a lot of people are playing this at 3, and I get it, but let me explain. I've never seen it as a necessity because of how easy it is to get it back from the graveyard. So this card, for those of you who maybe haven't seen it, you can fusion summon a monster that lists Buster Blader as a material using monsters from your hand or either side of the field. So again, I'll show you the combo in a second, but when you get to the extra deck, use Buster Dragon, which makes your opponent's monsters into dragons. You can then use their monsters, non-targeting for fusion summon, so it gives you like a super poly. Then if this is in the grave, you can discard a card to add it to your hand. So you can set up your graveyard, which is why I think it's not necessary at 3, personally. 1-for-1, it grabs like half your deck. You'd be silly not to play it. Foolish Burial, again, really is just like one of those things where it's almost a Rhoda in this deck, because it's like, oh, what do you want to send to the grave? What do you want to do? And it really just opens up plays. Allure of Darkness, you have Darks, you need it. Rhoda, obviously it's limited to 1. This is solely to search Prisma, but it's also a Summoner Monk target, so if for some reason I draw into my Prismas, I'm like, oh, alright, let me just pitch this and, you know, go Summoner Monk and do something. So it doesn't really have any downsides in that regard. 1 Twin Twister, like I said, it is good, so I go 2 MST, 1 Twin Twister. I have considered 2 and 1 in the other way, but I just haven't really gone that route. 1 Regeki. Another really, you know, self-explanatory card. Instant Fusion. So this card's cool in here, too, and I almost want to bump it to 2. I can almost guarantee that if I do end up taking out Upstart, it's probably going to end up being Mathematician, Instant Fusion, and something else. So that'll probably be the route I go for that, just because of how cool Nodin is, just in terms of giving you plays, synchros, whatever it is you want to do. It's a really powerful card. So that's that. And then we have a couple of traps. I'm a little bit uncomfortable with how heavy the trap lineup is, and I know it doesn't look like it's that heavy, but 2 Call of the Haunted, this is just to get back stuff. Like, you can get back a Whelp to tribute it to bring out a Buster Blader. You can get this to bring out Buster Blader. It's just kind of necessary, unfortunately, because I don't really know what else is a viable option other than Soul Charge. But the life point cost is kind of steep on that. 1 Bottomless, because it does hit mass Pendulum Summons, so that's obviously like one of those things that's worth it to have. 1 Destruction Sword Flash. This is if you control a fusion monster that lists Buster Blader as a material, banish all monsters your opponent controls. This does not target, so it's awesome. And then if it's in the graveyard and a card effect is activated that targets a Buster Blader monster, you can banish it from your graveyard, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy that card. So this is a really, really good card too. And then one solemn warning, because I still love this card. I still see no reason not to play it, because it's kind of like one of those, you know, emergency saves kind of thing. I know a lot of people are going to say probably don't take Upstart out, and again, I get it, but I think I may be more comfortable not playing it, so, you know, we'll have to see what route I end up going, but that's just other possible options if you guys elect to go that route. And then we will take a look at the extra deck. Now, I must say, this Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, might be my favorite artwork ever, and I know the camera glare is going to make that a little hard to see, but what a beautiful card that is. So that's a 2-of in here, and if you'll forgive me, I'm waiting on a second one to come in the mail, because I just kind of built this on the fly, so I had to buy one. So this card is awesome because you can basically make it with the Fusion spell. It gets 1,000 attack for every dragon that your opponent has on the field and in the graveyard. So if you are playing against a dragon deck, it could be beefy quick. It can't attack directly, but it does piercing damage, and it also negates any dragon effects. So again, if you are playing against a deck that's using a lot of dragons, you really don't have to worry about it. Like Red Eyes, for example, if it ever becomes good, you'll have this. This is a pretty much immediate out. So that's really good. It's Buster Blader, 1 dragon-type monster, so you can obviously use your Whelps, but you can also use Buster Dragon, which I'm looking for and not finding. Okay. Here we go. So, 2 Buster Dragon. This is at level 8. It makes all of your opponent's monsters dragon. Once per turn, if you control a Buster Blader, you can target 1 Buster Blader. If you don't control a Buster Blader, you can target 1 Buster Blader in your graveyard, special summon it. And then during your opponent's turn, you can target a Buster Blader you control and equip it with a Destruction Sword monster from your graveyard. So this will equip your Whelps, and you can pretty much do some really silly combos where you lock your opponent out of being able to do much on their turn. So it's awesome in that regard, and it's definitely one of the best cards the deck has access to. And then for other 8s, I have Colossal Fighter and Scrap Dragon. I like Colossal Fighter because I play a lot of Cosmo matchups in my area, so it can kind of go head-to-head with the spaceships sometimes. Not to mention, you do play a decent number of warriors, at least like 4 or 5 in the main deck. So it can be kind of 33, 32, swing over stuff. And you can make 8s relatively easily. I have some rank 4s, but I almost want to cut them down for synchros, and I haven't really decided specifically what. Abyss Dweller is really good. It does hit BA, it does hit other things. Gaga Cowboy is one of the things I'll always play just for game finishing. Dark Rebellion is too good not to play, and then Castell is, you know, you're out to things. Something I thought I might take out Diamond Direwolf, but then it's like, well, you have Direwolf, which can let you, you know, get over pendulum scales and stuff, and then number 101. So, like I said, there's a heavy presence of Exceeds here. I might do a little toying around with them if I do elect to take out the upstarts and put in other stuff where I have a little bit more access to synchros. I may end up doing it totally differently. So then for 5s, I play Armades and Chambara because I think they're both fantastic, and you can make it with any of your level 1s and any of your level 4s. And then I have the Nodin, but like I said, that lineup could totally change because you bump Nodin up and you bump other things. Like I said, I also would play Trish in here if you have it. There's a lot of different options you can do with the extra deck, so it's pretty cool because you do have a lot of flexibility with it. But the build itself is really just oriented on playing a kind of control game that sets up fields without having to worry too much about, you know, what your opponent's able to do, but the deck is a bit slow, which I think is its detriment right now. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck profile video. I apologize for rambling on a little bit, but I think the deck's a blast. I really do love playing it, and I can't wait to see what other things I can do with it. So if you guys have any suggestions, criticisms, whatever, feel free to drop them down below. I will happily read them, and hopefully be able to do an updated version of the deck profile if I do elect to make changes. So thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you next time right here at Loveshack Entertainment.